In the midst of this downturn that I think surprised a heck of a lot of people. And because of that, I think some companies are saying, well, maybe we should do some splits. Now, you ask the question, why does a company do a split when it's really, they're just adding more shares,
Right.
you know? And
Well, hi, Steve.
well, hello, Steve. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic.
Terrific.
Welcome to my backyard.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty slick. 13th hole on a PGA Tour course. Well, maybe not, but still golf course.
I was going
right?
to ask you if it was a PGA because
I
I
don't,
wasn't
I
sure if
don't,
it
I
was.
don't think it is, but nice course. I've played this course. It's a really nice course.
This hole, the 13th. This is actually the 13th tee box, and this is a long 5-par.
Oh, wow. You know, after we're done here, maybe we could just hop out and go hit a ball down there.
But there is a marshal that comes through pretty.
Yeah, but you live here. You should have that.
All right, so we are enjoying, and this no endorsement by Waterloo, but we are going to enjoy blueberry Waterloo.
Sparkling water. So
Now, when you drink this, you have to tell me what it reminds you of.
all right,
So
I
take
will.
a sip and let's
I
see
will.
what happens.
Wow, I just had visions of Willy Wonka and that boy that turns into the big blueberry. No, is that not what you were thinking?
No, but that's a good image.
So,
how about
blueberry pancakes?
yeah,
Yeah, or
blueberry
blueberry
muffin.
waffle,
Blueberry muffin.
Yeah, that's good. Well, gosh darn, welcome to the Steve and Steve Show, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate all of you who have subscribed, and those of you who are brand new, why, we thank you for coming here. Tell your friends and family, right?
Yep, that was fantastic.
Yeah,
Like-
I worked on that.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to...
In the mirror,
No, I went to confession today, so I felt a real flow through
maybe you
that.
had the Holy Spirit in you.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I have questions for you.
Okay. Yeah, this is super raw today.
It
It's
is.
going to kind of surprise me.
Yeah, but you know the subject, so I don't think it's going to be too terribly. I think I'm going to be more surprised by your answers then.
Well, that's what they said.
Okay, so today's subject is around stocks,
Okay.
and today is August 20th, 2020, just in case somebody watches this 10 years
Wow,
from down
yeah.
the road, right?
Yeah.
Because, anything on the internet is lifetime.
That's true.
It never expires.
Forever.
Yeah.
Unless we go back to sticks and stones. That may be.
Well,
then,
anything's possible.
then it'll
in
be
20
campfire
In
stories.
2020, nothing.
Would surprise
Would-
you. I know, I agree. And it could be like we could be campfire stories.
Right.
You know?
Right. So,
Yeah.
so a question that I have.
Remember the Steve and Steve Show.
So the questions I have is around stock split.
A stock split?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a deadline for Tesla tomorrow for a 5. Is it 1 to 5 or 1?
5 to 1.
5 to 1.
Yep.
So explain that, the ratio of that. What does
Okay.
that mean? What happens?
So basically, what it means is that Tesla holders, as of the date tomorrow, because after the date tomorrow, you won't get the benefit of this. But if you hold Tesla stock today and tomorrow by the end of the day, and let's say you have 100 shares. By the way, if you have 100 shares of Tesla right now, that's a pretty expensive.
You're rocking.
Pretty expensive. $200,000. Is that about right?
100, 200. How many shares?
100 shares at
100
2,000.
shares at
That's-
2,000.
That's 200,000, right?
No,
Yeah, it is.
200,000. Yeah, I guess it would
Yeah,
be.
$200,000.
Doing math in the air.
But 100 shares, if you have that, and it's at, let's say it's at $2,000 a share, on August 31st, when the split comes in, you would get 500 shares.
Wow.
And if it were still $2,000 a share the day before, that would be divided by 5. So the share price would immediately drop to $400 a share. So you're getting an equal amount of stock, but the perception is the thing.
Right. Because
So-
people already perceive that it's worth. That was trading at 2,000. So
Well, in addition to that, there's an awful lot of people out there that are saying, I can never buy Tesla. It's just it's kind of like Berkshire
Right.
Hathaway. It's just too expensive. I can't get into Tesla at $2,000 a share. Let's say it drops to $400 a share, though. That opens up a much larger group of people that might say, I may want to play in Tesla because
time to get in.
what
right?
if it goes back to $2,000 a share?
Right.
And I'll tell you, we have a real historical precedence for this. Stock splits haven't been as popular over the last 10 years or so as they were in the 1990s during that dot-com era. In the dot-com era, you had a bunch of technology companies that were really new on the internet, the things like Amazon and eBay and such, that were splitting literally multiple times in a year.
Yeah, I think I'll have to look. When I worked for Microsoft, I think we did a 2
I think
for 1
Microsoft did do a split.
in
Yep.
in early 2000s.
Yep, they did. Most of the technology companies that are still surviving were jumping in on it because what was happening is, at that time, say Amazon would go to $100 a share, let's say, they'd do a 10 for 1 split and the thing would drop. Don't quote me on that and go back to the Wayback Machine, but I'm just giving the example. It had dropped to $10 a share and the perception was, wow, I can buy Amazon at $10 a share. And then that stock would just run again.
So do you think that's a typical thing? Is that it does increase?
In the stock market, typical is a hard thing to say.
Well, 2020 is not a typical
Yeah.
year.
So I would say that if the market stays as exuberant as it is right now, then the likelihood of let's say something like Tesla. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and we are not giving anything but a conversation
but
here.
we're talking about an event that is going to happen.
That's true.
Right.
So I would say though, if the exuberance really does remain around Tesla, it certainly could start to move again.
Right. Now, what about? I heard Apple
Apple
was
is doing
going to do
it.
the same thing.
I think they're doing a 4-to-1 though.
4-to-1?
if I remember.
Okay.
I think theirs is,
And
they're
so what's the main purpose? Why do companies do this split? Because it has happened in the past, more frequent in the past. Now it seems like maybe we're going to see a lot more.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that the market has shown a resilience in the midst of this downturn that I think surprised a heck of a lot of people. And because of that, I think some companies are saying, well, maybe we should do some splits. Now, you ask the question, why does a company do a split when it's really, they're just adding more shares,
Right.
and diluting those that are there. What it does, though, is it broadens, many times, it broadens the shareholder base. So a lot more people get involved when you do a stock split, and you get a lot more investors that start to participate in it. And I think
because they can afford it, right?
right, exactly, because right now the perception is, I can't get a Tesla share at $2,000.
There's not a whole lot of people that just have $2,000 sitting that they can.
That's a
throw
true
at us.
statement, right? What's the
Yeah.
stats on that? Something like 60% of the United States could not come up with $3,000 or something. That's going to be
it's
wrong.
less than that.
Yeah.
It's like 300 or 500.
Is it $500?
Yeah, a month. Like people are live paycheck to paycheck, and to come up with an extra
Yeah.
$300, it's a big number, and that's why some of these network marketing companies, they target $300 a month when you're on your entry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that because you got $300 or $500
Right, and
there.
that's life changing for a lot of people.
Right.
So
Interesting.
So another question around the split. A lot of these stock brokerage firms already have like fractional investing, so that's somewhat new than in the past.
Yes.
Right. So how do you think that's going to affect this kind of a split thing?
It's a great question, and frankly, you caught me flat-footed
This
there.
was the raw question I was
because I'm
planning on
not
the surprise.
exactly certain how they would do the fractional. I assume, and I am making this assumption, that they would the fractional would also be fractionally split.
Yeah.
I do know, for example, in options, if you let's say so in options trading, when you buy one contract, you're as we talked about, I think in another video here, you are controlling 100 shares of that stock
Right.
with that option. Well, when the split happens, if you do have that, you actually will be controlling 500 shares because you'll have 5 contracts in the case of Tesla,
Right.
in a 5-to-1. So your one contract will go to 5 contracts.
It's interesting, right?
Oh
'Cause-
my Lord, is it? I've
So-
never done this.
Right.
I'm excited because I'm in Tesla right now.
Well, let's think about the guys that are in fractional, right? If they're in the fractional, how it works is like you at brokerage, they look at it and say, okay, we're gonna, and I'm gonna use a funny number. We're gonna let 5 people own this one share.
Right.
Right.
In a Tesla, we're talking the $2,000, right? For let's say as the share, so 5 people would have
20%, right?
$200 a piece, right?
Well, 20%.
I'm sorry,
20% of
400
one
a
share.
piece. Yeah,
Right. But
$400.
if Tesla takes that one share and splits it by 5,
Would you get a share?
do you get 20% of 5, or do you get a full share?
Right. No,
What an
it's
interesting math problem.
it is, and I'm not sure, honestly, on the fractional stuff because I think if I'm right on this, that you actually don't own
I don't
the
think
share. They have custody of it, of the actual shares, and you are partaking in that share
it's
structure.
almost like a mutual fund, but it's
Exactly.
not a fund,
I would-
right?
yeah,
But it's
it is.
specific to one share.
Yeah.
It is. It's opposite of an option contract.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Right,
right,
'cause
because
it's
you
a
actually do have a
it's a contract.
obligation.
Yeah,
You're
it's a-
obligated to
right,
it.
and it's a contract.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
So I have so it's interesting that a lot, and I think that part of the reason that this split, Steve, is coming back into vogue is because there's a lot of young investors that, and when I say young, I'm talking 20 years old, 18 to let's say under 30, that have really jumped onto the Robinhood trading platform and platforms like that have given them a very easy on-ramp to investing in actual personal stocks that they might want to buy. And when the companies are looking at this, they're saying, we've got a group of people that may not have as much money to go out there and buy multiple shares of our stock, but if we could split this, we might get a bunch of those millennial or a little older potential investors to jump on board in our
Right.
thing. And again, you always want to, as a company, not always, a lot of companies do want that kind of diversification in their shareholders. Why do you want one hedge fund to basically, control your
Right.
company? If you can get it more spread out,
Yeah, because then
you tend to have.
then they can pretty much control the
They're
price.
they're the tail that wags the dog, right?
Right. So if you get more,
They're the
people,
Warren
then-
Buffett that comes in and just scoops
Right.
up. I didn't say anything bad about Warren Buffett, who, by the way, decided that he's likes gold after dissing gold for how many years?
Yeah, it's a number of years. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ever
Yeah.
been in gold, but
But
that
he is now.
That would be.
I don't want. We wouldn't want the Warren Buffett cannon aimed at us.
Yeah.
At the same time, come on, Warren, what's the deal, Mr. Buffett?
Well, I
What's
think,
the deal here?
I think with that, right, when you talk about Warren Buffett and him going into gold, I think that tells you a lot about the economy in general.
Yeah. Well, and what? Not a year ago, he started really with Berkshire and all started really moving towards cash, right? He really started.
Yeah, he did.
doing
But what a lot of what he owns is the banks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So he's getting out of banks.
Divesting of
and banks,
those banks.
And banks, they deal with currency, the dollar bills,
Yep.
and he's moving out of currency and into gold, which is, by definition of money. If you haven't watched our money show, you need to go watch that.
Yep.
But by definition of what money is, gold, silver, precious metals is more money.
It's a
than-
store of value, a
Right.
true store of value.
Right, and it meets
Yeah.
all the criteria of what the definition of money
Yeah.
is. Where the dollar isn't, and the banks have the dollars; they trade dollars.
Yeah. No, you're
So-
right.
So that
So
tells you a lot.
it does. It says something that Warren sure believes, or seems to, by his actions believe. By the way, I'm going to go on record here and say I think that he's secretly buying Bitcoin also.
And I'm sure he has options on something that.
I'll bet you he does have some options.
So, Steve, I think we've. I think it was.
Well,
you
to
know,
wrap it
Yeah.
real quick, I mean, our listener out there, I think we have both young and older audience out there. We can say that because we're kind of older. But shoot, if you did have, $2,000 and you got into Tesla right now, think about it. You'd have 1 share today, but you could have 5 shares. That is not advice. But you could have 5 shares when the split happens.
Yeah.
Now, what if
What
that
about-
baby goes back again?
What if someone wants to learn more about stocks and
what if-
options?
Wow, yeah. I wrote a book called Trading on the House, and if you want to hit us up, we might just do another mastermind, right? And we could sit there and
Well, we'll probably have a webinar here soon,
Yep.
and then do a mastermind.
Yeah.
And if you want some private coaching on fundamentals, basics of how the market, how to look at stocks, not necessarily what to trade, but how to look
Education.
at stuff. More of the
Right.
education, coaching around that,
Yeah.
and coaching around encouragement to get you going.
right.
Remove some of those fears and the blocks, and maybe some stinking thinking
Yep.
around money.
Right.
Certainly reach out to us, and we can get you hooked up with one of our coaches, if not one of us.
Yeah,
Like, we have a big army of coaches.
dude, we have a ton, right? In fact, I think they're golfing today, so
right.
we have a little golf tournament going
Yep.
on.
So,
Wasn't true.
thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this video. Let all your friends know that we got it going on the 13th box.
Yeah. Cheers, Steve.
Cheers.
Blueberry. I never really liked Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, by the way. My own personal thing. My kids loved it.
Cheers. Thank you.